I'm not saying my compatriots are in the dark ages, but
I am.
Come on, do the math. You know what I'm saying?
More and more today, the hatred towards late-night TV hosts is felt.
And Conan's the best, bro. Conan's the best. All these guys suck.
Ellen is culturally canceled. YouTube commenters can't stop hating on Jimmy Fallon's supposed fake laugh.
I'm so sorry. I just can't stop laughing, dude. I'm seriously.
And Jimmy Kimmel.
I don't think his laugh is like all that fake, honestly. I think it's like partially fake, but I think he also just laughs a lot. I don't think Jimmy Fallon's all that bad. He's okay. But he's no Conan. That's for sure. And Jimmy Kimmel's the worst. He's the worst of them all.
Has been canceled on Twitter for the same blackface multiple times. Although, there was a time when late night comedy was a warm place in America's heart. So, what happened? Although Johnny Carson was not the first person to do this TV format following Jack Paar, he was the first to really capture America's attention so unanimously. During his time as host of The Tonight Show, everyone watched. In 1992, Johnny Carson's final week as host, he received 19.45 million viewers. The next time a host would break 10 million views was Jimmy Fallon's first week premiere as Tonight Show host in
I remember. We watched it live.
2014. Right now, many hate on these shows for two main reasons, which are that one, there are centrally irritating and dislikable things
Hey, he watched the Emperor Lemon video. So did I.
about the host, or two, that this is simply an old medium that we don't need anymore. I've always liked the medium, and with
Me
all
too.
things, I think that you can do it well or not well.
I think Conan does it well.
And currently what is being pushed to the front of our viewership is the not good version. It makes sense that in this new world, people want something different, which explains the success of long-form conversation podcasts like Joe Rogan's, who gets 100 million downloads a month and 1 billion downloads a year, making him literally the most successful form of episodic media in human history. However, I think something deeper is happening than just the idea that talk shows are a dead medium, doomed to be bad no matter what.
I just don't know how you got to Planet of the Apes from our trumpet player.
Speed of light.
Conan years ago did a web-exclusive long-form interview sideshow called Serious Jibber Jabber, and it proved
I don't think Conan is great in long form. I think he's good for video, for storytelling in particular, for the videos that he makes on his YouTube channel. I think those are his best content.
him to be a strong conversationalist, as the show was basically a podcast.
Oh, really?
However, it is inherently different than how he performs on his main show, which I also love. This is important to note that long-form conversation and talk show conversation are simply two different art forms and performances, both of which can be done well or poorly.
You know what, Conan? Here's the deal. I'm happy to come on your show, and I'm happy to talk about the movie, Get Hard. I'm happy to talk about, anything. But I don't want to talk about my personal life, okay?
I think a large issue with our current iteration of late night, aside from our new host's many flaws, is that corporatism and executives seem to be deeply intertwined with our modern comedy, pushing for
I
things
can't
that
watch
they
that,
think
bro.
will work and are safe choices. This is why it makes sense
That's immortalized. I love that it's immortalized in history, bro.
from a business standpoint
Yeah, I think these are the best videos that these kinds of guys make.
to get Fallon on the trending page
And I hate this, bro. This is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen Jimmy Fallon do.
by playing the same game over and over yet again with a new celebrity, instead of trying something new and avant-garde like the old late-night Fallon bits.
Or like Eric Andre.
Which were much more experimental and wacky. David Letterman and his successor, Conan O'Brien, handled this medium better than anyone, and there are key strengths that they learned over the years that their peers simply lack, making their shows feel disingenuous in an internet
I hate this guy. This guy pisses me off, bro. I want to punch him in the face.
age. One thing that may turn young people off of these types of shows is how grandiose they are and self-serious they seem to be without delivering, because if James Corden or Jimmy Fallon do some awful jokes clearly targeted at middle America older people, but with this giant suit and tie with long silk curtains backdrop, young people will be left thinking, You want me to laugh at this?
Of Amazon's own original products made for their Amazon Basics line of electronics have been bursting into flames. Yeah, but free shipping if you've got Prime, so you've got to take the good with the bad. I mean, I've heard of Kindle Fire, but this is ridiculous.
Why is he laughing at that? That's...
Wow, this is a disaster.
However, this is an issue Letterman avoided even in the era when these shows were still universally accepted.
There's been a lot made of the fact that you're moving to 11:30 and you have to appeal to sort of a more mainstream audience, that your wacky, quirky sense of humor may not translate. That's what some of the naysayers want to think.
I made a video called Hit Makers versus Risk Takers. And it's basically that, like, anybody who appeals to the masses can never be a great artist. Truly. If you appeal to the masses, that means that you're not doing things that would offend the masses. Anything with any sort of greatness in it will appeal a lot to some people and will piss a lot of people off. If you're doing what everybody else is already familiar with and everybody else is already in tune with, you're not doing anything great. You're just going along with whatever's popular. You can't have a mainstream audience and also be great. Those are two different things.
Are you going to change the tone at all of the show to appeal to a broader range of people?
You just do what you can do
I respect that.
and see how it works.
With a combination of self-deprecation and a lack of interest in celebrity culture, Letterman and Conan both made a mockery of this lavish medium their whole careers.
What do you think?
It's not racist, it's just stupid.
Where Johnny Carson would walk out as America's dad from his rainbow curtain to the call of Letterman and Conan would make fools of themselves and how ridiculous this setup is, almost in protest to the idea that they are deserving of something like this.
I like that. I like how Conan does that.
But now, our mainstream current hosts seem to roll around in the fun and glamour of having a show like this, but miss all the opportunities to push against it for
That's a problem I see with Fallon. That is a problem I see with Fallon. He's too into it. He's obsessed.
comedy.
He's so concerned with what the hell celebrities are doing.
It could be hilarious that Colbert's studio is massive like a Catholic cathedral covered in his own face, until when it comes up, it's just not really played for comedy and is rather an aspect of the show. The show has always been formatted as monologue, a signature desk-side comedy bit, the guests, and the musical act. And within these chapters of The Late Show Dance, there is opportunity for the host to create comedy, experiment, and showcase their personality and why you should be watching them. Colbert is the most puzzling to me in this regard, because I found Stephen to be much stronger a performer on his first show, The Colbert Report, before he accepted The Late Show as Letterman's replacement. And if you watch the earlier clips of Stephen's Late Show, even that was much more reminiscent of his Comedy Central self than what we have now, which is often less funny and more repetitive. In an interview with Jerry Seinfeld, a 2015 bearded Stephen Colbert reveals that after 9 years of doing The Colbert Report, he was ready to retire, and that is why he left his show.
Because I've been doing this show for 9 years, and my body has started burning my teeth for fuel.
Only after making this decision did he get offered the Late Show gig, which he felt he could not turn down.
I gotta say...
That's the thing. That's the problem with these shows. They have so much prestige. That's why I love Eric Andre. These shows have so much prestige. It's like The Tonight Show. Look at this great legacy. And the fact that Jimmy Fallon gets to be the one who does it. You know? Bro, fuck the legacy of the show. Honestly, like, worry about the legacy when you're actually making a good show, right? And worry about the legacy of the people who perform. But fuck the legacy of the show. People were like, oh, Jimmy Fallon doesn't deserve the Tonight Show. Get him on like the Daily Show or something like that. Put Conan in the Tonight Show. Bro, I don't give a fuck. I never say the Tonight. All I say is I watch Conan, not Jimmy Fallon. I don't watch either. But if I were to watch one, I would watch Conan. Like Clueless Gamer, bro. Who else does that?
Hey, though, following David Letterman, that must be intimidating. Yeah. You must have some balls.
The implications of this are huge, as with more context we now know we aren't watching a man who left his show to scale up in life, but rather a man who was ready to put down the torch, only to reignite it moments later. What do I do now? It's hard to believe that this guy is actually 5 years younger than this guy. On The Rapport, Colbert was a well-polished machine playing his alter ego character, who was a Republican, self-obsessed narcissist. He basked in his applause and made his guest wait for him as he walked across the screen. And he would often play with the interview format by interrupting guests with a sharp wit for comedic effect. Colbert has made political humor the main staple of not just his monologue, but his whole show's identity, as even when he comes to the desk, it feels like a continuation of what he was doing moments ago, essentially creating a Trumpathon TV network. This has allowed him to quickly rise to the top, even beating Fallon. However, while Fallon got to the top falling on repetitive, expected celebrity videos designed to trend on YouTube, Colbert is essentially doing the same thing by using a topic as salacious as Trump. This is in a sense the antithesis of Conan and Letterman's self-deprecation that kept them grounded, or Letterman's refusal to adjust to the mainstream. It is also extremely ironic because Colbert early on made a Rapport-style joke about how indulging in Trump comedy is like snacking on junk food, and he shouldn't allow himself to overindulge before it becomes an unhealthy addiction.
Damn, this is sad, bro. This is sad.
Okay. Anyway, one is enough. That is the only Trump story I'll be treating myself to tonight. Well, maybe just one more, you know?
And now that it's obvious that our hosts are beholden to ratings and numbers which are maintained by chasing trends, Colbert has firmly forced the entire competition ecosystem into keeping up with this subpar political humor.
Comedy has gone in two completely directions. There are people that have been, it's all about politics. The entire show is politics. And so when you see the roundup for what they talked about, it's blank took down Donald Trump today, so-and-so roasted, this person in the administration. It's all that, and some of it's very clever and very good, but it's all that. And then there's another kind of comedy which is completely escapist. Let's play games, let's have fun. And then I feel like I just found my own thing that I like, which is really silly comedy that I've been doing since 1993, where I'm doing the show and maybe someone interrupts me and it's an old coal miner.
This used to be a completely separate world of its own from late night, where Jon Stewart and Colbert were masters of what they did, but on their own island. But now that these worlds are increasingly less separated, both the networks and us as an audience look at Jimmy Kimmel, Trevor Noah, Bill Maher, James Corden, all as part of the same genre as direct competitors, which is not a good thing.
Man. Okay. Quick little tier list, okay? God, this is the most, he has the most punchable face here. Actually, no, he does, for sure. He's a close second. Okay. All of these guys, let's start with all of them in F tier, okay? Actually, no. They're all going to go in E tier. They're all going to go in E tier. We're going to drop him down to F tier, okay? And you know what? We're going to bump him up to C tier. Then we're going to put him in triple S. That's the tier list. There you go. That's your late night talk show host tier list.
I actually believe Fallon.
And I'd put Eric Andre in S tier right alongside. Actually, no. I'd put Eric Andre in S tier. I'd put, what's it called? What's his face? Conan in A tier.
When he says he never used to pay attention to ratings, and that he was really just having fun all the way to the top of his Tonight Show success, all until the executives wanted him to pay more attention once Colbert came encroaching in.
Yeah.
It is a major strength that Colbert interviews politicians and intellectuals so well and brings this discourse to a mainstream audience. But he falls short majorly when it comes to the comedy of his monologue, celebrity interviews, and having a distinct show identity with desk-side comedy. After years of doing his alter ego character, him transitioning to himself is a bit confusing to the audience, as we don't really know exactly who he is other than witty and political. In Celebrity,
There's great potential there, actually. If Colbert could see the self-awareness of it, and he could be like, damn, I'm still the same person. I'm still doing all this shit. The same things that I criticize, you know. I was criticizing this, like, the greedy, you know, conservative person, right? I'm still doing that same thing now. Look at me with my show. I'm still doing everything for ratings. There's self-deprecating humor you can have as a result of that. So much potential.
interviews, he's really bad at creating comedy or chemistry, and I think this is a result of taking someone who used to play a character who made a mockery of celebrity, and now he has to sit still and play it serious to entertain America. But I find that Steven has an inability to care about the guest or relate to them, and often shows himself to be self-aggrandizing in an awkward way that may work for the studio audience, but falls flat at home.
Right, yeah. Do you know who the #1 guy in late night is right now? It's you. Yeah, that's right.
It's important to remember that this is
No one cares.
not so much a conversation as it is a conversation performance, and the host's job is to play to the guest and what they want to do as best as possible. With Fallon, I don't think his laugh is fake so much as I think he is simply just that guy. The guy who loves everyone and wants them to know.
Yeah.
But just listing out what is so great about somebody to their face
I don't think Fallon's so bad. In fact, I actually enjoyed a lot of the first few episodes we watched of him that we had on DVR.
does not leave us with chemistry or comedy and just feels like an infomercial.
Knockout punches. You're so great. You're great.
That's what I don't like. That's true. He like sucks the dick of every single person. And you know what? He wouldn't be who he is without that. So I do kind of respect that he does that because we get some really cool stuff out of it. But again, it comes down to viral like celebrity clips for the internet. I'm not going to watch any clips of some celebrity I don't care about, you know? Some fucking, I don't know, like who's fucking Brie Larson or whatever. If he interviews Brie Larson, I'm not going to fucking watch that shit. Hell, other people are going to watch it. But if he interviews someone and he's going to like gas him up all the time, I'm going to do it to someone who I would want to gas up too, you know?
You crushed it.
The host's job isn't really to ask good questions, but rather to be a good reactor and only talk in a way that aids them. When Bill Burr comes to Conan and has salacious takes, Conan knows how to either egg him on or push back against his premises, not to shut him down, but to highlight what's funny about what is being said, and if anything, let Bill double down.
You know how I would do it?
What?
I would randomly sink cruise ships.
Yeah, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's hear him out. Why would you randomly sink cruise ship?
Because you'd get like 2,500 to 3,000 people a whack, right? And I think it's a good mix of people to get rid of, to be honest with you.
Ironically, I think laughing at the guest is a vitally important part of the show, but Jimmy's oversaturation of this with a lack of any interest
Yeah, okay, it's a little too far. But yeah.
in questions has caused audiences to grow numb to this, because once something begins to feel artificial, an audience can tell and start to size you up. Just because we hear the studio audience having a good time because they're in the presence of celebrity, that does not mean we will automatically laugh at home. Jimmy Kimmel and James Corden are like the fucking yin-yang twins of stalling culture, where they represent two sides of the same coin of redundant media. Jimmy Kimmel represents normie culture, being the squeaky clean, generic box of cereal, dictionary definition of a talk show host, with no discernible personality to his show in any way, only creating comedy by regurgitating and reacting to the pop ethos around him. Emperor Lemon did an entire deep dive on Jimmy Kimmel,
Yeah.
and I highly recommend it. And I know he came from The Man Show, and it kind of makes sense that he has weird clips like this from his past.
Squeeze. Maybe it would be easier if you put your mouth on it. Yes. Oh my goodness. Women will only have to deal with harassment all the time at every other place they go.
Even though he's supposedly matured and is better now,
No, he's not. He's not. He's a bullshitter. That's who he is.
His poor interview skills and airheadedness still lead to weird moments like this.
What are you sporting tonight, Jimmy?
I don't know. I'd have to look in. Later on, we'll look. You'll go through my pants, and we'll see what I'm wearing.
Meanwhile, James Corden represents the all-too-common issue in media of being a copy of bad pop culture, essentially acting as a Jimmy Fallon clone, following the formula of repetitive bits designed to trend on YouTube and thriving almost entirely off of celebrity culture. And Fallon is an overexcited golden retriever who can completely ruin the momentum of a joke by asking a stupid question, but at least he's authentically himself.
Yes, because I don't take it
For the most part.
I need one. I just love it's my favorite thing.
You like it better than sleep?
Better. It's,
Sleep is like the ultimate nap.
that's stupid. You just said that. That's a dumb thing to say.
What are you talking about?
That's such a dumb thing to say.
And Colbert has the most interview issues of all, ranging from sometimes being alienating, such as when he pointed out that 50 Cent is rich over and over again, despite his own $50 million fortune.
You got 2 Rolls Royces? Did you buy yourself some new houses, too, to put this? You just did something in Monaco. Thud. Do you like rich people? Do you like hanging out with rich people? Oh, you're a tycoon. You know who else is a tycoon? Is Donald Trump.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
He is often a bad listener, which ruins what the guest was trying to set up.
But then you didn't listen.
Okay.
I'm not doing the show again. What do you think about that?
He can even be narcissistic and try to put down the guest
Extremely.
in a completely off-putting way.
This is like a vacation. I asked you one question, and we're how many is? We're 9 minutes into your answer. They turn off the cameras halfway through that horse story. It's just all of this. But I understand you wanted to be a serious writer. Like, what happened to the serious?
I'm not answering your questions now. The hell is that?
But worst of all, he just seems to be overly aware that he is the #1 slot in late night right now. And because of this, he
That's
just
crazy. I didn't even know. I thought it was Jimmy Fallon.
not play to the electricity of the moment and will even shut down a comedy premise if it is somewhat non-PC.
I was doing a joke. I saw this lesbian walk into a restaurant, and me, like, oh my God. It's like, it was undeniable.
That it was a lesbian?
Yeah,
you mean?
she was dressed like John Goodman on Roseanne. You
Maybe
know?
she was a construction worker.
She wasn't. Her hands were like as clean as mine. It's just like it was.
Here's the foreman.
Social justice, 1, 2, 3. I wanna be PC.
While in comedy, you can have a comedy duo of a straight man and comedian where the straight man pushes against the comedian's stances for comedic effect, as Conan does with Bill Burr. What Colbert is doing here is not that. He is more so just not allowing the joke to even happen, feigning ignorance to what's being said. And because Colbert isn't laughing, the audience isn't laughing, and then in turn, we don't laugh at home either. In their prime, these shows are supposed to be fun and unexpected. The host and the guest are taking the show's format of promoting products, whether it's a new movie or an album, and they're tearing it up to have fun with the format and ride the electricity of the moment. In other words, it's okay if the interview goes off of the rails if it's in service of entertainment or comedy.
You can't have a serious conversation. You can't have a serious conversation. Horribly informed. Horribly informed. Could barely talk. Oh, no, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right, sorry. So,
This 11-minute Bradley Cooper clip is by far the hardest I have ever laughed watching Jimmy Fallon, where Jimmy and Bradley attempt to talk about something as tragic and dark as the Elephant Man.
you know what? It's not funny. This guy was horribly deformed. Let's get it. It's not funny at all. It's horrible. And the poor guy, we're laughing about him right now.
But only after forgetting that they were wearing these absolutely inappropriate visor prop hats from this segment before.
The movie, there's prosthetic, but I love that we still have these on. But it just feels good. Tell me it doesn't feel good.
They then are trapped in a loop of attempting to start this portion of the interview over and over again, as they simply cannot take off the hats, as it would ruin the editing continuity.
I'll cut to like a zoom in on this, and then we'll edit around it. Yeah. This is based on a true story. We got it.
You can feel the visceral laughter from the audience as they feel like they're part of a comedy club, seeing something unexpected and hilarious they get to be a part of.
I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this, but we have to do it.
Rather than just cheering for the mere fact that celebrity is before them. This is what Conan and Letterman were so good at, creating moments with their guests by playing to their personalities and running with the moment by being a strong listener instead of just phoning it in like Kimmel, or only thinking about the next question, not really listening at all like Colbert. This is where I really have to hand it to Seth Meyers, because where he is not that funny of a conversation.
I don't ever see clips of this guy. Ever. I know about him, but I never see clips of him.
Journalist himself, you can tell that he's very respected, and he's good at making the guest feel comfortable and playing to what they want to do, creating a very organic atmosphere, which only makes sense as he's a massive comedy fan and was the head writer of one of the most beloved eras of Saturday Night Live there ever was. As for host-guest chemistry and not doing what is expected, Craig Ferguson may have been the absolute best at this, where he not only had the most avant-garde version of a show like this, but he tore up the blue cards with the show's pre-made questions every episode to have an off-the-cuff conversation, and even disrespected the sacredness of his show by sitting this casually. Letterman even knew how to get a joke out of the musical guest segment, whether it was him chasing down Odd Future.
Wait a minute. Come on. Hey, don't be like that. Now we'll never be able to open the teen center. Hey, Tyler, how you doing? Okay, yeah, that's good. Thank you very much. You guys ever been to Bend, Oregon? I don't know what that is. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Or asking every drummer whether or not they owned their drums or if they were rentals.
Boy, those are great. Are those yours or those rentals? Are those your drums? Great. Cool. Nice drums. How are you? Good looking drums. Thank you very much.
We have established that the issue is not that this style of show is outdated and doomed to fail, but rather our current iteration of them are filled with missed opportunities and chase trends.
Yeah, Lily Singh is the biggest waste of a YouTuber I've ever seen, bro. She's like what we were just talking about earlier with that one chick who was talking about like the self-fetishization of like Asian culture, like East Asian culture. It's the same sort of thing what Lily's saying with like brown skinned people, like Desi people, Indian, Pakistani, all that stuff.
Whether or not it is political culture or celebrity culture, and that these shows should leave more room for play and taking chances. It is still worth asking, what about the future? Will this format ever change or need to change in order to work? Conan has already thought of this himself and to his own volition scaled down his 1-hour show to a half-hour program with only a single guest. He had the least ego of all, realizing that in the YouTube generation, it is better to have a more accessible, short show that people can love. He also started his own podcast where you can listen to him have longer conversations, which now have been praised in Variety magazine. This was taken the wrong way by many, as the podcast industry has been huge and underreported for a long time, and Conan by no means is the real trailblazer of this moment. However, it's worth noting that he is a trailblazer in the late-night circuit for pushing things forward, and this is a part of that. It feels significant that the guy who is best at talking to his guests on a performed TV format would also want to do extra work on the side, having longer, less artificial conversations online.
In this podcast format, you can attain this kind of connection you can't attain any other way. So I absolutely love it.
The biggest reason he scaled down his show is that it leaves more opportunity for them.
Yeah, when he was
love it.
Like
the biggest
these videos are awesome that he does.
He scaled down his show is that it leaves more opportunity for them to
going around traveling the world, exploring what the world has to offer, right? It's amazing. I love these videos.
Do his Conan Without Borders version of the show, where he travels the world and makes comedy in new countries while learning the culture and connecting to those around him. What's incredible is that he seemingly has fans everywhere he goes, and they love him for his character. But what's more incredible is the laughter he gets out of people who have zero idea who he is. Wherever he goes, he has the charisma to make people laugh.
Yeah, that's amazing. These are some of the best videos like ever from any of these kinds of people. Like these videos are actually amazing. They're so character driven. There's so much story behind them. Like they're actually the best. I like even saying they're the best is actually understating it. You have to watch these videos, bro.
To me, this glaringly points out the difference between him and his competitors. Do you really think you could put Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel into the middle of China and make a random bystander laugh? I do not. At best, I think that they would make humor about the foreign world around them and find something to point at, versus how Conan manages to make the world point at him. A few years ago, Conan even helped his comedian friend Pete Holmes start his own late night show that came on before his own. It didn't last long, but you can tell that it had authenticity and some of this forward thinking already packed into it, from Pete's lack of a desk to the complete and utter refusal of taking itself seriously.
This is beautiful, by the way. I haven't seen your set in person
yet.
This is a fantastic steak restaurant. This is the best steak restaurant in Seattle. Beautiful stonework that they've done.
In fact, almost every episode featured another comedian absolutely roasting Pete to his face and him loving every moment of it.
You're dressed like you're the CEO of a pumpkin patch.
Pete actually laughed a ton, almost to a Fallon level, but the main difference is that in YouTube comments you can actually find people who love it, because when you listen to the laughs Pete gets, it sounds more like you're listening to a room full of people eager to see what happens next. This is completely different from the canned applause of Jimmy Fallon and James Corden, or the self-seriousness of Stephen Colbert. However, there are rays of hope for the future even outside of Conan and...
Oh, I've seen clips of this guy. Who is this guy, bro? I've seen clips of him.
his camp.
When I first saw the promos that you were running years ago on the Viceland outlet thing, I thought, these guys, this is it. This is the future. This is the way it ought to be. And it makes me so happy that it has come to pass that way for both of you.
This is, bro.
Wow.
Desus and Miro are an amazing duo, and their Viceland show to me was the perfect reaction to this ever-changing market, where they were loose cannons, improvising, drinking on screen, commenting on things from the internet, and declaring that yes, they are a part of the late night family by saying,
No more show at late night. No more show at late night. Number one.
This is why it is so ironic and painful to me to see that already after them scaling up in their career, switching from Viceland to Showtime, that the quality of their show has already gone down. Where before it was Desus and Miro fucking around with themselves as if no one was listening, now it is them with a studio audience who largely does not laugh as hard as I used to in my bedroom watching their Viceland show. Now in this age of quarantine content, I'm seeing more and more people create shows like this by themselves from home, and the pressure will only continue to be on our mainstream hosts. In this age, the future of our
Sean Evans is good.
Late night comedy success will not lie only with who is funniest, but most importantly, who dares to be the most authentic. This is Zane Barry from Tall Skeleton. Have a nice night.
Damn, it really does come down to authenticity. Like it all comes down to what made YouTube successful in the first place, is the authenticity of its creators. That's what it always comes down to. I love that. This was a good video.